where we love to mix and mingle. When we mix and mingle. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, somebody put these up here. If you're at conference, they say, which way is better, this way or this way? I say this way. Hello again, everyone. Okay. I just love to see how you did that. So we have another presentation. I've already talked about some of our wonderful spouses who do great things for the club, and Steve did a wonderful video. And another spouse, Tom Curley, has done a wonderful PowerPoint presentation for us, which I get to take a big part in. And it was written in great part by his wife, Ellen, our member, Ellen Curley. Thank you. We thank them for the part of the presentation. And this is just another bit of a lot of information about the Westport Rotary Club, and I am going to take these off. You get it, right? That's 100. I get to wow you again with the accomplishments of the Westport Rotary Club and brag about what a fun club we are and pretty much always have been. So, buckle your seatbelts and wander back again to March of 1924, exactly 100 years ago, March 7th, 1924, as we signed the papers to make Westport Rotary Club a reality. Calvin Coolidge is president, and the business of America is business. Prohibition is enforced, which of course makes us all wonder how this club ever got started. Flappers and silent films are popular. Only 35% of households have phones. People still use ice boxes, not refrigerators. A gallon of gas costs 11 cents. God bless America. And radio is becoming a major focus of American homes. Into this America, Westport Rotary is born on March 7th. That's when Anson Larry, the first General Secretary of the Westport YMCA, which was founded just a year earlier, decided to form a Rotary Club in Westport based on the formula that Paul Harris created 19 years earlier in Chicago.
Paul Harris.
It was a social club, but also dedicated to improving the local community. The Greenwich Rotary Club, I hope they're still in the house, founded just 3 years earlier. Those are our sponsoring clubs, so thank you again, Greenwich Rotary Club. Service above self was the motto, as it still is today, and despite our reputation among some as hat-wearing, secret hand-shaking, mind-bending zealots, we are still a group of pretty normal people. Committed and friendly volunteers who socialize, network, and organize to achieve the goal of effective and meaningful community service. Make no mistake, the Westport Rotary Club has changed a lot since 1924. We've morphed and evolved the most over the last 100 years in 3 areas: tradition and tone, fundraising, and international giving. But before we get into the gradual change that occurred over the last 100 years, it's more fun to address the glaring exceptions to the rule that organizational change takes time. There were 2 pivotal years in the club, 1988 and 89, that saw rapid and dramatic change.
1988 was the year that the Rotary trustees made a promise to the children of the world at the convention in Philadelphia that year to eradicate polio from the face of the earth. 1988 was also the year that a number of members of the Westport Rotary Club decided that going to lunch didn't fit their personal business schedule. They wanted to form a sunrise club, a breakfast club. And there were quite a few members who felt that way. And 1988 was also the pivotal year when the U.S. Supreme Court provided some encouragement to Rotary to allow women to join it.
And Westport Rotary indeed opened it's membership to women in 1988 after some encouragement. You gotta love it. And in 1995, we elected our first female president, Judy Robbins. There have been 10 more female presidents at Westport Rotary Club. have been a large and positive force in the club ever since, and we now have 50%, almost 50% women. The State of the Union is going on right now, and I feel a little bit like this is the State of the Union. 1988 was also the beginning of our continued involvement with the playground at Campo Beach, and as you can see, that was a long time ago. That year we supported the building of the playground both financially and with hands-on volunteer hours. In 2006, we helped refurbish the playground, and now in 2024, our Centennial Project is sponsoring the renovation and modernization of that playground, which, as you recall, in 1989 was really not supported by the local community. It's now the keystone of our beautiful Campo Beach. 1989 was momentous for the Rotary in one more way. That's when both Dr. Paul Speakerman and Rick Benson, about whom we've heard some tonight, joined the club, and they single-handedly turned our minor international involvement into a major charitable force. We'll have more on that later. As we get back to the three main areas of gradual change, most obvious was the tone and the character of the place. 1924 was a more formal and exclusive time, and I'm pretty sure we'd not get away with maintaining those rigid standards today. I hope you've all been, or many of you have been to our relaxed lunches and fun lunches at the Greens Farms Church, and if so, you'll find it hard to imagine that our first 50 years lunch meetings were a formal affair. Not only did men wear suits and ties,
Very often you say a long time take. And therefore, we really communicate with Parliament. Me, for example, I was an officer for 4 years. Doesn't talk to anybody for 4 years. It was bad.
as we all know, and as we all learn, Bruce tells great jokes, and I'm so glad he told my particular favorite, so I'm not going to tell some of mine now, but maybe see me after. Since 1993, our Pass the Gavel installation dinner for new presidents has been a cookout held at Campo Beach. Again, this dress code now has shorts and flip-flops, but in the years up to 1993, this was a very formal black tie event. In 1992, as recently as 1992, when John Shuck was inducted as president.
In John's day, when he was made president, they had a formal dinner. And you had, guys in the dark suits and the ladies dressed up. And you had a sit-down dinner with white tablecloths at a restaurant that no longer exists in Westport. And the very next year, Marty Resnick became president, and he said, "That's just not my style.
What are you doing?
We're not going to do that anymore." And that's when we changed and transitioned, but a lot of things were changing and transitioning.
Yeah.
The ladies and all that.
Absolutely.
So in 1993, Marty initiated the Pass the Gavel Lobster Dinner, which we still have today, and for which we thank Marty greatly. A highlight of our annual calendar. So new members of our club would also be surprised to learn for much of our history, Westport Rotary was governed by strict rules covering everything from membership to dress to attendance. Originally, our classification rules only allowed one male professional with management responsibilities from each profession or line of work. So you could only have one lawyer, one doctor, one banker, etc. And of course, in Westport, this was a really difficult policy because we got one financial advisor and membership was closed. But this rule was later relaxed and eventually eliminated.
2016 was the year when Rotary decided that all the rules of the past were inhibiting the growth of Rotary, flexibility, a broader membership, at the same time, a more diverse membership was being encouraged. Three Rotary really got to that way.
There were also rules around attendance which were strictly enforced.
Early on, once again, as rules, we were super strict with attendance. I mean, the best way to get kicked out of the club was to not show up. And everybody opposed marks.
So making up meetings was mandatory. However, you were allowed to make up a meeting, and people keep track of this, at any Rotary club around the world. And you can still go into Rotary clubs around the world, and it is really a fascinating thing to do, and you're welcome to go in. So Rotary members from here, it's really a delightful experience in most cases. Despite our early rigid rules, in the early days we did have a reputation as a fun group, and we still do. We were known for practical jokes, humorous skits, and we were known literally for horseplay. At one point, we actually had a donkey basketball game to raise scholarship funds, and while this picture was not our actual event, this is as silly as it looked. We raised a fair amount of scholarship funds, and I'm told, though, that one member dislocated his shoulder, so he's not done that again. We also had a softball team. We have members of the softball team here tonight, I was talking to them earlier, which was pretty good. From the sounds of it, they'll tell you it's pretty good. A singing group. We eventually had an orchestra of some renown that played all around the state, and even at the World's Fair in 1940, which is pretty impressive. And in preparation for our 125th anniversary, the aforementioned Erwin Liebisch has announced that he will get another orchestra together for the festivities, and he will act as concertmaster in 2049. A second area of dramatic change in our club was our fundraising efforts. Until 2012, our fundraising had provided things that raised $15,000 to $20,000 to $30,000 each. But in 2022, we raised $246,000 and gave grants of over $180,000 to 39 501c3s in Fairfield County, as well as $65,000 to 12 international charities in 13 different countries. This year, we'll be allocating $275,000 to charities, $75,000 of which will go to international organizational grants, which is pretty incredible. Of course, we've been able to do that because of Lobster Fest. Before Lobster Fest, our BLF days, we tried all kinds of events, including a golf outing. We had a circus. We had tennis events. And we had auctions, including art auctions. Our longest running fundraising event was the roast beef dinner, later renamed the family dinner, which started in 1958. This big popular event showed the volunteer spirit of members and families. And this picture shows Samantha Oades serving to some of our grateful diners. And having moved back to Westport a few years ago, Sam is still at it, serving now as the co-chair for the Playground Revitalization Committee, which is pretty cool. It shows the generational continuation of Rotary. But by 2007, enthusiasm for the dinner was waning in the club, and that is not because of Wally Meyer pictured here. The great guy will return to him in a minute. From 2008 to 2011, Westport Rotary set up a tent at the Fairfield County Concours d'Elegance. We held both a live and silent auction at this major car show, with lots of interesting donated items, including a small sailboat, which I find is an interesting item for a major car show, but that's just me. The fundraising game changer came in 2012 at the start of Lobster Fest. Not only did we start raising significantly more money, but everyone in the club became involved, and really it revitalized the club. That tradition of working together on Lobster Fest has become a source of pride for all of us. But Lobster Fest, as we know, it didn't happen overnight. Since 2008, when Rick Benson, our highly respected member, was the district governor, and that's Rick on the right there in that picture. He had suggested that we try a Lobster Fest like the ones held by other Connecticut clubs. And in 2012, then President Willie Broder took the idea and ran with it. As we've heard, Tony Riggio was the chairman of the first Lobster Fest committee, and Rick Benson handled fundraising, food and logistics, and basically everything else.
So it was the three of us, Tony Riggio, myself, and Rick. And we got all dressed up like lobsters, and we got in front of the club when I was president, and I said, guess what we're going to do?
Lobster Fest. Lobster Fest quickly became a town-wide event, and not just for Rotary members. We are now permitted for 1,500 people, and Lobster Fest has become an iconic and popular event throughout Westport. Last year, we sold out the whole place in 2 weeks, And every year we serve well over 2,000, actually, we serve 1,500 meals. Exactly the number we're committed to. And we thank our ticket chairman, Tony McDowell, who, because tickets are so limited, he has gone from being the ticket seller to the admissions officer. Really impressive. So the partnership with the town and the great relationship with the Parks and Rec Department has helped increase attendance, but it was Steve Lewine's addition to sponsorships that started increasing the amount of money we could raise. And tell him that, let the record show that there was applause for that because he deserves it. When he was president in 2014, he taught us how to get corporate and friends sponsorships. But I might add, he taught us how to let friends and local corporations realize the value of being associated with such an extraordinary event and such an extraordinary club. The amount of money we raised annually began to skyrocket.
It became clear to me that because of the success of the event, that we could probably raise as much, if not more, money through sponsorships than we could through the event itself. So while I was president in 14-15, we formed a sponsorship committee. And that year, the first year of it, we actually raised as much money as we did from the event itself. It's about $35,000. And then we started to get really excited about what we could do with sponsorships. So the very next year, 2015, we created this concept of elite sponsorships, creating 3 different levels. And that really catapulted the sponsorship committee forward.
You've heard this before, but it's worth restating that since Lobster Fest started, we have raised over $1.6 million. 100% of it we have contacted the charitable endeavors, and 75% of that money has gone to local charities and 25% consistently to international organizations and projects, and we have a lot of fun doing it. The evolution of our international giving is also an interesting story. In our early days, we mostly gave to local charities, which is worth, we gave some significant donations. One of my particular favorites is the seed money that the Sunrise Rotary and Westport Rotary jointly gave to create the Westport Rotary Centennial House for Homes of Hope, which still is a very active supportive housing facility on West End Avenue with 6 affordable housing units, and it's a very successful thing that we really got involved and started. Over the years, we did raise some funds for specific international projects. For example, in the 1990s, we shipped medical textbooks that were no longer used in areas of the world that desperately needed them. The project leader, the aforementioned Wally Meyer, auctioned off his ponytail to pay for the shipping costs. And I don't know, for those of you who know Wally, he's really a wonderful guy, but I would have been on the sailboat. After this small start, our international involvement didn't start to expand until Dr. Speakerman and Rick Benson joined the club in 1989. By 2000, they started to create the large-scale international program we have today. Dr. Speakerman, with his international and medical experience, became the face of Westport Rotary's international activities, but his partner,
Rick Benson, added the magic that made Dr. Speakerman's dreams become a reality. He was the one who made all the financial connections so that we had partners on these projects as they became ever larger. He promoted Westport Rotary Club in the district, and he enlarged our scope of thinking about what is possible.
Dr. Speakman wrote Westport Rotary's first global grant in 2000 for the dengue fever project in Surakarta, Indonesia. Applications for global grants are an important step for our club because they brought in additional clubs from all around the world and allowed us to undertake new ambitious scale of international giving. In 2008, Paul and Rick created another milestone for our international program.
Paul and I were both instrumental in getting important direction of what to do. For quite a few years ago, we were getting 25% of all our contributions for international projects, 75%.
LeWine's presidency in 2014-15, Westport Rotary had its first international service trip, which was to Nicaragua, or as Steve would say, Nicaragua. Now, every year, some of our members get to see firsthand the meaningful ways we're able to change lives around the world in places like Guatemala, Kenya, Uganda, and India.
I love our service trips to Nicaragua and Guatemala and doing actual working, not just saying, here we are, aren't we wonderful, but actually getting a hammer and working or a paintbrush or cleaning up or teaching an English class, because I used to teach English as a second language.
Some of our life-changing projects have been to provide clean running water to local communities in Africa where 83% of the population does not have access to reliable, safe water. We have provided polio vaccines in India, and some of our members with boots on the ground gave these doses to women, children, and infants. We also support schools and after-school programs in Guatemala, Nicaragua, and Africa, libraries in Haiti and the Philippines, and we help fund heart surgeries in Sri Lanka and India. Our service trips have also helped build latrines and ovens in Guatemala. We now have projects in all those countries, currently in 9 different countries, including the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Jordan, Syria, Turkey, Ukraine, Malaysia, Ghana, and Nepal. And we've recently been able to engage in an extraordinary project in Bwindi, in Uganda, at the Bwindi Community Hospital that is unusual in cost, scope, and number of partners and grants, as well as in local impact. A special shout out to our member Joe Carpenter, who offered his medical expertise in identifying and reassuring much of the medical equipment in this outreach.
The project resulted in 2 global grants that were valued well over $1 million. We equipped a 30-bed hospital and 4 intensive care units. We also gave Bwindi Hospital the capability of doing telehealth. It serves an area, an immediate area of 280,000 people, but a larger area of 3 million people. And most of the medical facilities are at least 12 hours away.
This facility, along with its telehealth program, is substantially improving the health and well-being of a large population and is a huge achievement. As we've heard from the director of this hospital, it's really quite extraordinary. So Rick Benson said that one of his long-term goals for Westport Rotary was to win the Charles Pettingill District 7980 Award, which goes to the Rotary Club out of 57 in our district that has an outstanding record over the past years in all areas of service. We received the award on March 19th, 2023.
That's a terrific way to end her centennial year.
Indeed it is. And having ended our first 100 years with a Pettingill Award, we're entering our second 100 years as a vibrant, active, effective club with an increasing membership of interesting people from the community who work well and play well together. We're a well-oiled machine. We're all dedicated to service above self and the 4-way test, as well as friendship, fellowship, and cooperation. We are people of action, and we get things done, and we have no secret handshakes.
And you can get mentored and you can mentor. And you can get people involved and you can be involved. And it's just fun. It's just really, really fun.
So I had wrap-up comments already, but beyond thanking Ellen and Tom Curley again for their hard work and professionalism in putting this together, and my co-pilot, Susie Schuck, back there in the control tower. I realize the best way to end this story is to show the power of the strategic session planning that Tony McDowell led when he was president and assistant district governor. And in that session, Tony insisted that the hallmark of our future lay in being a fun club. And what better way to end our past history than having Leslie Roberts' last word in her last video pronounce this as exactly that. Thanks to everybody for listening to that. I have one more thing I want to do. So if you were all paying attention, to that brief history, or even if you were not, you cannot miss the impact that one of our members has had and continues to have on this organization of motivated people. And just give me a minute, I have to change the Over the past 35 years, Rick Benson has had a number of roles within Rotary. He has won awards and he's been involved in Rotary administration at every level. If this were baseball, we would call him a franchise player at Westport Rotary Club because he has shaped this club unlike any other since he joined in 1989. So my job for the evening has ended, and I am now meant to call upon Rick to wrap up the event. But as part of handing over the mic to Rick, which we all know is fraught with peril, President Kenny Epstein and President-elect Goldie James asked that we commemorate tonight not Rick's achievement, but his passion and his love for Rotary. He has been the heart and soul of Lobsterfest, the heart and soul of our international activities. He's been the heart and soul of our participation in the effort to end polio. He's been the heart and soul of this evening. That made it seem appropriate to create a unique Heart and Soul Award, which is, sadly Rick, not a trip to Disney World. But it is from the heart of all of us. It is a lenticular art piece created by Mitch Burroughs, who is in the house. And we hope it shows in many, many different ways that all the things Rick does for Rotary. It looks like this. Up there? Rick, would you please come up and accept your never before awarded award and probably never to be awarded again award.
I went to a really small high school in Buffalo growing up, where everybody else was an athlete and I wasn't. The only way I could survive was being the lead cheerleader. And I had no idea that 55 years later, I would still be cheerleading a group of wonderful people like you. So Jeff, you've been great tonight. You are considered running for election for something where you can moderate public meetings. And who knew we had so many past presidents, philosophers? Dave and Marty, you were great. Thank you so much. So I hope you've had some fun tonight, drunk some of our spirits of Rotary, and enjoyed learning a little bit more about our 100-year history of Rotary in Westport. And I hope you're inspired by whatever your association with the club has been, that we'll continue to work together for the betterment of our towns, the region, and the wider world. Those of you who know me know that I'm all about partnerships and relationships. You get so much more done working together, using everybody's skills, than you can individually. Everyone here is part of that bigger partnership. Thank you so much for supporting us and supporting Rotary and all the work we all do in our communities. It was great having you all here. Thank you. As you heard tonight, Rotary is not just a philosophy. Rotarians are people of action, which is summed up in our vision statement. Together, we see a world where people unite to take action and to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. Rotarians create hope in a troubled world, and peace is the soil where hope takes root. We promise you no long speeches, and you're right, I've been accused of not shutting up for a while, and you've already seen way too much of me tonight, so I have about 5 minutes to wrap this up. I thank everybody involved. At one point they gave me to 9:45. And Winston Churchill has a quote that's been very meaningful to me. It kind of sums up what we're all here for tonight. We make a living by what we do, but we make a life by what we give. My life has been profoundly improved by my association with Rotary, and Totney's and my life together is so much richer for all the experiences Rotary has offered. Rotary is one of those activities where the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. So you already heard that our centennial celebration has 3 components. Our gala tonight, with a gathering of old friends, of club partners, of community partners. You've seen our story, you've heard about some of our old traditions, and some of our memorabilia is on display. The second part of our celebration was to write a book about our history. Ron Hinkoff and his team spent, I don't know, it seems like years, writing this book. So it feels like years to him anyway. And our centennial gift to the town that's already been mentioned. A few folks have already left, but for those of you who haven't left, we have a goodie bag for you. And in the goodie bag you will find a copy of our new book. So the goodie bags are organized on the table on the way out with your last names on. So the first 100 years of Rotary is a compilation of all the previous versions that we could find, and lots of appendices about our youth programs, our international service projects, trips. All these slides back here behind me, by the way, those are some of the countries that we do projects in or have done projects in. It's actually 30 countries where we've done grants and trips, and another 14 countries where we've had youth exchange kids. So it's like 44 countries altogether that we've worked on in just the last 25 years. So it's a good, rich history. Ron did a terrific book, and here's another first for our 2 Rotary clubs. We've always been friends, and members go back and forth periodically, but this is the first time where we actually have 2 members of both clubs. The men are members of our club, and the ladies are members of Sunrise. And it turns out that Ron's wife is an active member of Sunrise, and they're here tonight to celebrate their 42nd wedding anniversary. And Ron, thank you for your work on this. I hope you enjoy your anniversary dinner. Also in your goodie bag is a copy of Westport Magazine with the compliments of Moffett Media. Jonathan is here tonight with his group publisher Gabrielle Mays and her husband. So it turns out Jonathan was also looking for a free dinner with 195 friends to celebrate his birthday today. So Jonathan, happy birthday. And a few little goodies at the bottom of the bag. There's some great chocolate that Eileen Flug donated, some mints, cards that my wife donated, and Gilberti's provided all the plants. So there's a little card from Gilberti. Okay, our centennial project. With any luck, we got the Cabo Beach slide. And I have no idea where they found that picture of me with a red beard. That was really fun. I've got a white beard now for at least 10 years, but that is what I used to look like. Apparently. So 5 years ago, our board started stashing away funds from Lobsterfest to spend on a centennial project yet to be determined. So we've raised well over $100,000 now. So our gift to the town, as you heard, is to be the lead sponsor on a major renovation of the Hopwell Playground this coming September. And as Jen mentioned, it's going to be a community build. So all of you and all your friends and your children and your grandchildren, come play in the sandwich. As you will learn in the book, Westport Rotary's first service project in 1924 was, of all things, cleaning up a playground. And it was behind Bedford School, which is now the town hall. So things keep going in circles around here, guys. I joined Rotary in 1989, right after the first playground. Many of our children grew up on that playground, and as you heard from Jeff, I didn't know he was going to say that, but Samantha Wade is one of our co-chairs. The other co-chair is Bridget Flynn, who's here, she's current president of the Westport Women's Group. And we have a new financial partner on this project. We have a challenge grant from the Westport Police Foundation of $100,000. And Chief Cody is here tonight. So on your way out, as you get your goodie bags, on the right, you're going to see a poster about the playground with a new QR code. And the fundraising effort for that project, we're going to try to raise another couple $300,000 to support what will end up being about $500,000 gift to the town. Again, it's all through partnerships and all by working together. But Jen Fave is here with us tonight, the Director of Parks and Rec. And co-foundations here, Lauren Bromberg and Julian Buczynski are also here. So if every battery left in your phone, you can click on the little QR code and that'll allow you to express your appreciation for this project. As we close, I'd like to introduce and recognize a few other folks who worked so hard to make tonight fantastic. First is our Longshore wait staff, and Christine Hussey, who's been so efficient tonight. Believe it or not, we're actually 10 minutes ahead of schedule. So. Second, I want to thank my wife, Topney, who just dove into this like he does every other project. And after 35 years of helping the club in every way possible, we finally elected her an honorary member. Third is Susie Shuck, who organized and helped produce all the events. She thought this was going to be simple, and she's organized it before she's done marketing presentations at IBM. She had no idea what she was getting into, and you've already heard about Steve and Tom and Ellen. They've done a great job. It turns out, yeah, thank you again, guys.